Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy, Jermaine Event is here. This is episode 176, ladies and gentlemen. And we are calling this bad boy. Damn, I feel like I moved the camera. Yeah, I think I did a bit. We are calling this bad boy. I guess we're calling it prediction. I don't know if I had a better name for what I wanted to call this episode, but I guess we're going with prediction. That's the working title, and we're gonna stick with it. Last year it was I think it was Happy Kwanzaa. I was listening to what my year-end predictions for who would be champions 2020 at the end of 2022, and I got quite a few right. And my predictions of like who would be the people who would be their toughest challengers, I was like, ooh, called that. Ooh, called that. Like, so, and it was like, even if I was off, like, I was listening to how I was surmising that Yuri would be a tough challenge for Glover, but I wasn't sure how he would handle the grappling. And as we all know, that fight ended as fight of the year in a lot of people's opinions, but it ended with Yuri submitting Glover Teixeira. So I was like, it's pretty awesome that was my predictions there. Like, it'll come down to like how Yuri can handle the grappling, and sure enough, it was a war. One of the best fights, but I thought it was pretty great to listen to my predictions last year. Happy Kwanzaa. Go check that episode out if you have not. That's episode, let's see. What episode is that, ladies and gentlemen? All my real niggas know. Episode 123. Kwanzaa 21 is the name of that episode. 123 Kwanzaa 21. Oh my God. That's just funny to me. So we're going to talk this episode about my predictions for who I believe will be the champions at the end of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Who will be the champions this time? This is the day that I'm recording this, January 1st, 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year to you all. And I'm going to give you guys my opinions, my guesses on who will be, my prediction, as the episode is called, on who will be the champions this time, 2024. Going to briefly mention a couple other guys here, but if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys could hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast. If you guys would like to follow your boy on Twitch, head over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. And if you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. Yep, that's what it was. I didn't put it in my notes this week, and I was like, fuck, I had to go back and go to the old notes. Then I was reading it, and then I went out of there, and I was like, ooh, pretty sure it's Babylon 5 Pod. I know I said like years ago when I started giving all you niggas these social medias, I was like, I gotta fucking make it all the same It's what you try to do with all your shit. If you guys don't understand this, like, you want your Instagram, your Twitter, your every fucking, like, your SoundCloud if you have it, your TikTok, everything should be the same handle. So it's just anytime you search that you're gonna, all that shit's gonna pop up. You know, that's just rule of thumb. But I've been over the past, like, well, you can see a reflection of all this crazy shit. You can even see my periodic table of elements in the reflection of my cup here, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I have on this wall is the periodic table of elements. Since chemistry, I've been obsessed with it. I used to just, like, know most of what everything was. You just ask me, you know what I'm saying? Just like, oh, what does ZR stand for? And I would know it. We don't need to go over that right now. UFC lightweight contender prospect Damir Ismagulov. Like, a few hours before I recorded this episode, I saw that Ismagulov announced he's retiring for undisclosed health issues. And Ismagulov is suggesting that everyone hugs the people they love. And it's unfortunate, whatever it is that he's dealing with. We saw recently some fighters die recently. That we saw Rumble Johnson. And the other fighter that also died last year is, like, I'm blanking on his name, but I didn't know he was sick. I don't think it was too put out there that this fighter was sick. I forget his name. You guys know exactly who I'm talking to if you're talking about if you guys are actual MMA fans. I don't know why it's leaving me right now. I didn't plan to mention these fighters right now, but because I wasn't even sure if I was going to talk about Damir. But Damir alludes to, well, he says he has health issues and he's retiring. We've seen a couple people just kind of suddenly die. So I hope whatever it is that Damir is dealing with, I hope he can recover, man. Recover fast if possible. I'd love to see Damir return, but it's just unfortunate to see Damir, man. He just fought Arman Sarukian, and that was a pretty good fight. His boxing looked great. Super fast, super sharp. He definitely could be a problem for a lot of people in lightweight. And it's unfortunate that this may be where it ends for Damir. So, yeah, I just hope the best for Damir. I hope the best for his family. I hope for a recovery, man. That's unfortunate. So, as we're talking about my predictions for champions, who do I predict to be holding UFC gold at the end of 2023, this calendar year? We are going to start with the women. Women first, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting with the women. And I'm going to go from lightest to heaviest in the weight classes. So with that said, we are going to start with my prediction for strawweight champion. And current champion is Zhang Weili Zhang out of China. And my prediction that at this time, 2024, the champion will still be Zhang Weili. Now, I was looking at who I feel like could possibly be a problem for her, and it's like, well, obviously, you would surmise Rose Namajunas, but I believe that there was a lot of talk that Rose was going to actually move up in weight. I'm pretty sure the talk was that Rose was going to move up to flyweight. And I'm not sure, after she just got dominated in a grappling exchange, submitted in 65 seconds against Jillian Robertson, who a lot of people wouldn't say that they're anywhere on the same level as far as MMA is concerned. But clearly, we saw what happened in just grappling. Jillian finished her in 1 minute, 65 seconds. We saw what happened as far as grappling. And honestly, when I think about what Jillian Robertson said after the grappling match with Rose Namajunas, tells me that Rose would fucking knock her out. At least finish her if they fought in MMA. Because Jillian Robertson said that Rose was really fast. And she had to do something to close the distance and get her hands on Rose. Because her feints, the way she was moving, was just too fast for her. Rose was too fast when she couldn't throw them beautiful. She's like one of the most accurate strikers we have. And Jillian's comment on Rose when there was no striking allowed was she was way too fast. I needed to get my hands on her and take it to the ground. So there's doubt like, oh, maybe she would get dominated in MMA moving up a weight class. But I think once she can strike and use everything else, it's a completely different thing. So I don't know if that grappling match would really discourage Rose and keep her fighting at strawweight. And if she continues to fight at strawweight, then, it's always 50-50. If not, 60-40 in favor of Rose from what we've seen as far as Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili. So because of what I'm under the impression is that Rose is going to move up and fight at flyweight in the future, I don't see anyone taking the belt off Zhang Weili this year at all. I feel like she beats all oncomers, all contenders that I currently see at strawweight. So I'm sticking with Zhang Weili to be the champion this time next year. And at flyweight, current champion Valentina Shevchenko, and I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko to still be the champion. At this time, 2024, Talia Santos. We saw that Talia Santos had the most success we thought we probably would ever see against Valentina at this time. We saw Talia Santos look pretty good. And, there's if the headbutt didn't happen, then this would have. But what if that leg kick doesn't dead Sean O'Malley's leg against Chito? What if that head kick that Leon threw against Kamaru never lands? What if, my nigga? If wishes and whatever if wishes were, what did that nigga say? I'm talking about fucking Dwight. Every day be Onk the Donk Fest or whatever the fuck that nigga said. Whatever he said relating to that. What if it didn't happen? Valentina won. And I think she's better than Alexa Grasso. I think Alexa Grasso, as I mentioned last week, is my female fighter of the year. I think Alexa Grasso is very talented, and I still think she may be a few years off in her development to beat Valentina, or to really give her the kind of challenge that she needs. I think she's a few years off from that. I think Valentina having that tough challenge against Talia Santos, she's going to come back and be very much improved. Very much, she's going to be finishing people. I'd say no later than second round, she's going to be finishing people. She's going to come in there with a new motivation because that last fight was so close. So I'm sticking with the bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, to retain her belt throughout the year. Now here's when the controversy starts from your boy, ladies and gentlemen. When we're talking about women's bantamweight, there's a few things that I'd like to see from women's bantamweight. I don't know if that'll happen, but it'd be pretty cool if they did. And I would like to see Amanda Nunes retire. Get out of here. Just get out of here. Get out of here. All right? It's cool, It's fucking cool, I guess. If you're so fucking dominant, no one can fucking hang with you. I guess that's fucking cool. But what's the fucking point of this? If she's at that point, why did fucking Khabib really retire? What was one of the reasons? They're like, oh yeah, he promised his mom, but he was also saying, like, look at these guys. Come on. None of these guys are going to be a shit. Look at these guys. And when he said that shit, before he fought my nigga Charles Oliveira, before Charles got dominated by Islam Makhachev, I was like, he's scared. I don't think he was scared. I think he felt like it would be a waste of his time to fight most of these guys at 155. And I think it's a waste of time for most of these women to fight Amanda Nunes at either weight class. You remember Megan Anderson, how she looked walking into the arena to fight Amanda Nunes? That's pretty much how it is for most women going in there, except for the woman that I picked to be the bantamweight champion this time next year, Juliana Pena, to be, and new, I want her to be the second time champion, whether it be that she defeats Amanda Nunes for the second time, all right? Maybe she needs to defeat Amanda Nunes for the second time, or maybe Amanda Nunes just fucking retires, and then Juliana is then able to fight someone else for the belt. But I believe she'd win that. I believe she's second best in the division right now. And I'm going with Juliana Pena to be the champion at the end of 2023, this time next year, 2024, January. I'm going with Juliana Pena. And hopefully Amanda Nunes retires. And that's where we come into fucking featherweight. If women's featherweight is even an actual division, if it's even an actual division, hopefully Amanda Nunes fucking retires. Or at least they take the fucking featherweight belt off her. There's basically no division because Amanda Nunes is there. And they see her as this fucking immovable object, this unfucking beatable force. That's what they see her as. So because they view her as that, there's basically nobody in the division. You had great fighters like Felicia Spencer. GDR's not fighting up there. Holly Holm could fight up there. There's a lot of... Fucking Kayla Harrison could come in and fight up there, but you got Amanda Nunes there. And it makes it kind of a waste of time. So pretty much every 145er that came there, you only have to win like 1 or 2 fights before you're the number one contender now. Because there's nobody in that division. So they need to take that belt off of Nunes or she just fucking retires. Just, Amanda Nunes needs to fucking retire. And then if she retires, my pick for featherweight champion would hopefully be Chelsea Chandler. Like the only actual 145er fighting. Like it's slim pickings at 145. I'm pretty sure they still don't have rankings for that weight class. I'm under the impression they've never had featherweight rankings, women's featherweight rankings, because it's usually they started the whole weight class for Cyborg. Then Cyborg came in. It's pretty much dominating whoever the fuck they put in front of her, except or until they put in Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes finished her. Then at that point, Amanda Nunes was essentially the boogie woman. And there's been no rankings. It's been just a nonsense division. So I would love to see Amanda Nunes fucking retire. And then once we can finally move on with the division, I'm going with Miss Chelsea Chandler here. Out of Stockton, motherfucker. To be the champion at 145 pounds. Women's featherweight. Going with Chelsea Chandler, ladies and gentlemen. Now as we move to the men, right, let's move to the men. It's funny, last year, I thought I was being crazy when I said this, honestly. I thought I was being bold. I picked Davison Figueiredo to be the champion, to retain his belt, and beat Brandon Moreno, and be the champion at this time. And I was 100% right. I was right. Anywho, this year, ladies and gentlemen, my pick to be the champion at the end of 2023 at flyweight, at men's flyweight, Manal Cap. Manal he had a couple rough fights to start his UFC career. Former Rising champion. Shout out to Bellator versus Rising event that just went on. I saw some highlights. Did not watch it, but shout out to y'all. Former Rising champion Manel had a couple rough fights to start, and now he's really coming into himself. His last fight, he looked like an absolute monster. I could be mistaken here, but I'm pretty sure he's fighting Amir Albazi pretty soon here. I think he already scheduled to fight Amir Albazi, so I believe everything. I believe he's so talented. He looked like an absolute monster in his last fight, and I believe that he has the skills to take him to #1 contendership within a year. And I believe with his striking acumen, like, yeah, Brandon has great striking, but I feel like Manel's just on a different level with his Rising. He's just a great kickboxer. We just know it. I think his striking is on a different level. So I believe, and his grappling looks pretty good as well. So I'm going with Manel Cap to be the champion, flyweight champion at the end of 2023. Now, personally, I think this is where it gets pretty interesting. As far as men's bantamweight, current champion Aljamain Sterling. Shout out to all the Jermaines. Current champion Aljamain Sterling. My pick for who will be the champion at the end of 2023, ladies and gentlemen, I am going with Merab Dvalishvili. Yeah, Merab is what I'm going with, ladies and gentlemen. You might say, how? How does Merab, teammate of Aljamain Sterling, become champion when they've repeatedly said we're not fighting each other? Well, you see, Merab is coming off his victory against legend Jose Aldo. Merab looks great. And yes, the two men, best friends, will not fight each other. But as Aljo has been saying recently, and he could be just joshing. He could be joshing you niggas, but Aljamain Sterling has said that he plans to move up to featherweight after his next title defense. Alright? And there's all this talk. Cheeto Vera and motherfuckers are talking shit, calling Aljamain a weight bully. They're saying he usually walks around 175, 180. And then he comes in and cuts down and fights at 135 pounds. So they're all calling him a weight bully. He's a lot bigger than most of the I'm not saying he's a weight bully. I'm saying he's making the weight. And he's winning fights. He's the current champion. It is what it is. But he's talking about he's going to move up to 145 pounds after his next title defense against either Henry Cejudo or Sugar Sean O'Malley. Regardless of that, I say at the end of the calendar year, I believe he's number 2 ranked. Yeah, number 2 ranked featherweight. Number 2 ranked bantamweight, is Merab, and I believe he will be champion if Aljo moves up to featherweight. Rob Dvalishvili is my prediction for champion. Now, when we go to featherweight, I've got two picks. All right, I've got two picks. Number one, and still Alexander Volkanovski, still champion at the end of 2023. All right, but he also faces Islam Makhachev at 155 pounds. Now, the other person that I believe has the potential to be champion at 145 pounds at the end of the year will be Aljamain Sterling. As I just mentioned, Aljamain is intending to move up to 145 pounds. They call Aljamain a weight bully. As I just explained here, he cuts down about he cuts down 40 pounds to make 135. So I don't think featherweight cutting down 30 pounds would be too much of a problem for him. So with Volkanovski facing someone like Islam Makhachev next at 155 pounds, and everybody knows the X factor in that fight is the wrestling. How does Volk deal with the wrestling of Islam Makhachev? Well, I feel like I'm giving Islam a good, fair chance in that fight, but if he goes out there and gets dominated in the grappling by Islam Makhachev, then I think it looks pretty bad for him. I'm not saying that Aljo can do the same things as Islam Makhachev, but he's definitely going to cause some problems. He's got some different problems that he can cause. I think he attacks more submissions than Islam Makhachev. I think if Volk is not able to really handle himself too well against Islam Makhachev, then I see no reason why Aljamain Sterling would not be featherweight champion at the end of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm saying at the end of 23, it's either Volkanovski or Aljamain Sterling. As far as lightweight is concerned, I believe and still for Islam Makhachev. I know I just said I'm giving Volkanovski a fair chance against Islam Makhachev, but I'm giving him probably the best chance. I say these are the three people that I feel like could be a problem for Islam: Volkanovski, Beneil Dariush, Arman Tsarukyan. Those three right there. And I'm honestly giving Volk more of a chance in there because he's fighting him next. If if that fight wasn't scheduled to be happening, I don't know if I would even mention Volk in there as a potential challenger to his belt, to his title reign. I don't even know if I would throw Volkanovski in that conversation. I think his toughest challenges are Beneil Dariush and Arman Tsarukyan. He could very well fight both of those gentlemen in 2023. We don't know how active Islam Makhachev is going to be, but man, I'd say fucking regardless, man, he's probably going to be the champion for the next, until he feels like not doing it no more, man. The way he dominated my boy Charles Oliveira, he's probably going to hold that belt until he doesn't want to anymore. That's just how it is. At welterweight, all right, current champion Leon Edwards. And I think the biggest problem, clearly, as I said last year, my prediction for welterweight champion, I believe, is the same this year. All right, as long as this man can make weight, I'd say 2024, January 2024, the champion will be Khamzat Chimaev, ladies and gentlemen. As long as he can make weight, I believe he's a problem for everyone. All right? I feel like the tough fights I see are clearly... Ooh, my laundry's done. Tough fights I see for for Boers are clearly Leon Edwards. Bilal Muhammad, as I said, was my fighter of the year, along with Chito Vera. But Khamzat is an absolute problem. He's a menace. He's a nightmare for most people at 175 pounds. We're talking about weight bullies here. This guy really struggles to even hit that weight. So, if anybody's a weight bully, it's Khamzat Chimaev, unfortunately. Unfortunately, if you will, I feel like if you can make the weight, you can make the weight, and it's fine. So, I'm going Khamzat Chimaev to be the welterweight champion, potentially middleweight champion. We'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah, let me throw Shavkat Rakhmonov as potential tough fight for Khamzat Chimaev. But Khamzat is a problem for everybody at 170 pounds. And if we go to middleweight, so this is what's interesting to me. Current champion, Alex Pereira. And I said last year in my prediction that I thought Israel would retain the belt, and the toughest challenges he could have at 185 pounds, I said, was Nasruddin Imavov. That fight never happened, unfortunately. Nasruddin Imavov never fought him. But I did say, begrudgingly, honorable mention, Alex Pereira, who is current champion. He just defeated Israel Adesanya. So with that said, my pick for middleweight champion at the end of 2023 is Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Alright? And it's not like, I don't know if Whittaker would necessarily beat Israel again in a 5-round fight. A lot of people felt like he did beat Israel in the rematch. I feel like he improved a lot in the rematch. So the rubber match, if they have a third fight, I feel like would be pretty fucking interesting. But as everyone, all the fans of the sport's familiar phrase is styles make fights. Alright, styles make fights. And if we're looking at Robert Whittaker versus Alex Pereira, I feel like Robert Whittaker has the skills to take that fucking belt from an Alex Pereira. I think his style would be too much for Alex Pereira, especially since he hasn't felt Pereira. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's a more caution in Israel in his approach to Alex because he has felt that power. He's now been KO'd twice. TKO'd, yada yada. He's been KO'd twice, so I think there's a little bit of caution in there. And Robert's gonna come at him. He's gonna come at him with that right punch, same side kick, and he's gonna try to grapple him, take him down. I feel like Robert is the one, and I'm gonna go with Robert to defeat Alex Pereira. And if he defeats Alex Pereira, I don't see him giving Israel Adesanya a title shot like too quickly. Because after Israel beat Robert, he was like, even Robert was like winning fight after fight. He's like, he needs to do more. Like for like so long, he was like, nah, he needs to do more. So like, I don't feel like Robert is going to just give Israel a championship title fight right away. But I feel like with Alex and his fight against Costa falling off of the Perth card, Robert is without an opponent. I don't really see too much of a reason to book Israel versus Alex rematch like so soon. I feel like the person to go to is Robert Whittaker, and I believe he defeats Alex Pereira. Now, for the current light heavyweight championship, my prediction for this year will be the exact same prediction that I had last year, which is Magomed Ankalaev. I couldn't believe it. I was listening to the to my predictions, and I was like, wow, I went with Magomed. And it was this close for Magomed to be the champion. Like, at the end of the year, it was this close. Last card of the year, and he was in the main event, and it ends in a draw. You know what I'm saying? It was this close. But I'm going with Magomed to bounce back from this draw against Jan Blachowicz, and I believe he will be the champion at the end of 2023. I'm going to keep that prediction here, man. I think he's going to learn from that last fight. He's going to not wait until the fourth round to remember that he's Dagestani, and he's going to dominate people the way he should. So I'm sticking with Magomed Ankalaev to be the champion. There's no light heavyweight champion right now, but I believe by this time next year it will be Magomed Ankalaev. And heavyweight, ladies and gentlemen, last year I think I went with I went with Ciryl Gane, who was at the moment scheduled to fight Francis Ngannou like 3 weeks from when I was giving my predictions. And as you guys know, unfortunately, Francis was able to out-grapple Ciryl Gane and retain his belt. I think, alright, for 2023, the heavyweight champion of the UFC will be none other than the GOAT himself, Jon Bones Jones. If Jon Bones Jones returns to action in 2023, they've already talked about his next fight either being against Francis for the belt or it'll be an interim title fight against Stipe Miocic. So when he returns, it'll be a fight for the belt. And I think he's already too good for somebody like a Ciryl Gane who was able to be out-grappled by Francis fucking Ngannou. Alright? His wrestling is going to be too much for Ciryl Gane. His wrestling is going to be too much for Francis Ngannou. He's going to dominate people like fucking Tai Tuivasa. I think the only real problems, he's going to dominate folks like fucking Derek Lewis. His real problems are people like Sergey Spivak, Sergey Pavlovich. These are the Sergeys. Them niggas is his problems. Curtis Blades can be a problem. Fucking, Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is able to return to form with his grappling acumen, his jiu-jitsu acumen. Tom Aspinall can be a problem, but even with it, I'm going with Jon Bones Jones to be heavyweight champion at the end of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta go with the GOAT, Jon Bones Jones. And if you guys... Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I just want to say that, it's New Year. Today is the 1st of January. You guys are gonna get this bad boy on the 2nd. I hope you guys were safe last night. If not, you're probably not hearing me. But I hope this is a safe year for y'all. I hope everybody